I'm Judy Couchie from Nipissing First Nation. I'm a survivor from Shingwauk Residential School in Sault Ste. Marie. I'm a mother of 4 and a grandmother of 5. So the Indian agent told me that I was being sent to a really fun school with all kinds of kids. I'm going to have a really great time. So I kind of was, you know, when you're a kid, I was like around 12 or 13, I was like, that sounds like fun. So I was put on a bus here in North Bay. And back then, it's not like today where people go to Toronto in one day. That was like a trip to be. So I haven't been out in North Bay, actually off Nipissing First Nation, other than to go into town here. So I was put on a bus, and that's, you know, 4 or 5 hours back then on a bus. And when I arrived there, there was a man waiting for me. And you know, he was waiting, so he asked me my name, and there was a station wagon. He just said, "Put your things in the station wagon." So I did. And he took me to the school, and he just said, "Sit on the bed." And there was nobody there. It was just silence, but it was creepy even going up to it. It's not like right now it's a university, but back then the old part of the school was there, and there was like big trees, and you already knew, even on the bus ride, I knew when I got a couple hours into it, I started getting nervous, saying, this ain't right. Like, I'm really going far from my family. It's not like... So from then on, I knew something. And then when I saw the school, you know, you already look, but there was no kindness shown. I ran away 3 times from residential school. And 3 times I was brought back. And so when you see a police cruiser, it's like, oh, my savior, because everybody tells you if you need help, go to a policeman. So I try to get across them. Not everybody thinks you people are safe place to go, because 3 times I ran away and 3 times you brought me back to the perpetrators. What the officer said to me was, well, if you wouldn't be bad, if you wouldn't run away, they wouldn't be bad to you. See, I was the only child in my family, immediate family, that went to residential school. My siblings didn't go. They were probably because they were older, and my mom had died when I was 3. So, you know, Indian Affairs really took a hold on me more than, and they got a grasp on me more than the rest of my family, I guess. And that's why we grew up kind of different. We kind of, there was long periods where we just couldn't connect. And I see why now. And same with my community. When I came back, it was like you did something wrong while you were sent away. Or you like abandoned, it was like almost like a feeling like you abandoned them. You know, it's not that way now. You know, now I've had years and years of therapy and trying to learn my culture, you know, coming back to it. But before that, because of residential school, you know, you're ashamed to be Native. So yeah, I left the reserve, like after I got out of residential school, I came home and I didn't feel welcome. So I went down south. And I got married at a very young age, which probably a lot of other students ended up that way. You hid behind your husbands, which were, I'm not very good with marriage, 2 husbands that were non-Native. And I think that when I look back, yeah, they didn't work out because you were hiding within a culture that wasn't your culture. And I thought, like, as being brought up in the reserve, before this residential school thing, everybody took care of everybody, like your family. We didn't lock doors. We could play outside all day. We could go in the bush. We could go swimming. We could go up the creek fishing. And there was no fear of the outside world. So once I got back from residential school, I feared everything, basically. So when I got married, I felt safe in that environment. They could protect me from that, you know? And so, you know, I had children at a young age. And my children don't even know my story because I don't want them to be burdened. I don't want them to carry it. You know, I told them now, if you ever want to hear it, they have an image of me being overly protective, and, you know, somebody that nothing can hurt them. So to them, they're who I am. They really probably know a different me in their minds, you know. So I did try to tell my daughter my story once because she had, you know, BA in psychology. So I thought, well, I'll tell her. But I started to tell her my story and she just got too shocked. So I just like let it, I just said, I don't think, oh, you know, we'll just stop there. So I did that, you know. A girl from the North Bay Nugget had got my name from somebody, and I actually never was doing formal speaking on it, but she interviewed me, and then I got a call from Sudbury the next Orange Shirt Day, and they asked me to come and talk to their community. It was like a low-income thing, but they had parents and children, and I talked. And then I got contacted by Musimikan, I think it's called. I can't even say it. I'm so bad in my own language, it's terrible. Anyway, it's Musimikan, I think it's called, and it's the OPP and something to do here with the union. And I got contacted because my friend Elaine, her daughter was a peer mentor with the group. So she gave my name. And I started talking to the kids at Spirit Point, it's called. And yeah, and when I talk to them, there's different levels, different age groups. So I go on different levels. And then when I talk to teachers and policemen, I kind of give them the whole story, the whole picture, so they can maybe understand some of the parents. Because right across Canada, you're going to have First Nation children in your school if you're Native or non-Native. So I educate so that they can try to understand. You know, children are bad. They're a product of their grandmothers, their grandfathers, their aunties, their uncles. Like all my aunties and uncles went to residential school. There might have been one that didn't. And with the policemen, I wanted them to know my story so that they could see, like, you're dealing with drug addicts, criminals, but you don't know what their history is. Some, because the residential schools were still open up to 1996, you still have younger people that are, you know, out there. Some of the behavior or some of the disrespect they may receive from our people is because you didn't protect us. And they were so-called teachers that abused us. You know, the policemen, well, they're bringing you back. They don't know. And as a child, you don't know how to voice those things that are happening to you. Because it never happened to you at school, at home. And then all these strange things are happening to you, sometimes at night, and you can't express it. You know, and then you have people that don't want to believe those things happen because they're so into the religion that a religious person would not do that, or a teacher would not do that. Their esteem was so high that they were seen so high that you're the one that's doing wrong by saying they did wrong. I think that's why some of the students, the survivors that have guilt, because people are telling you, no, no, no. It's you that's bad. This is why things are happening to you. They're responsible for what they did. The government's responsible for what they did. The churches are responsible for what they did. And all I want, if you feel you want to do something for me, I want you to educate every person that you come in contact with about my people and about what happened. And yes, the government's responsible, the churches are responsible. Your responsibility now is I gave you the information. You have to pass that down. That's the only way it's going to change. It's very healing to tell your story. Try to get a good therapist. And that might take you a while. Because I had several therapists, but they didn't get it. And so you feel like you're wasting your time with some people. But you got to keep trying till you'll get that connection or get in contact with the organizations, because they know the good therapists where people are going, like the survivors groups. There's a hotline. Call that if you're really overwhelmed. And tell your story, even if you have to talk to yourself until you get brave enough. When I was going through therapy, I started painting. I'm no great artist, let me tell you. Some of my stuff's pretty dark. But I did that during the times, like, you know, in between your appointments. So I really got into painting just to express stuff. And then leading up to my hearing, I made my regalia. It's not like the best, you know, it was white hide with deer toes and some beads and things. But I just did it without a pattern. I just took the hide and did it, and it just helped me get closer and closer till I had my hearing. And when I had my hearing, it was heavy because it had toes, those deer toes, right? I was just like, oh gosh, this is heavy. And I've never made regalia before. I even made up moccasins, and I was like, and I beaded them with bear paws. And the significance to me was it's being brave, because now I'm up there and there's the government officials, you know, and you got to tell them your story. And so it was overwhelming, but I did it, and I asked to have a feather. No, I wasn't going to swear on the Bible. So I had to contact someone at the Friendship Center at the time to come and, you know, officiate for me. And so before the hearing, instead of the Bible, I had a person come in and do, you know, that. And I wore my regalia to tell my story. And then I changed halfway through because it was pretty heavy and hot. But yeah, you got to get therapy. There's, you know, and get back into your culture. Because what you were taught there has nothing to do with your culture. Don't be ashamed of it, because that's what we were taught, to be ashamed of who we were. It's hard at first because you're brainwashed out of your culture. That ain't, you know, so it's hard so you need the therapy, you need to do something creative to keep your mind busy in between those appointments and seek out your culture. Because that's going to save you in the end. That's what's going to turn it around for you. You know, I tried my language, and I started classes, I think, 3 times. So I think there's a block, but I try, and I keep trying. I'll keep trying until I get it. I'm old, but, you know, I'll get it.